I hope my screen is visible to all. Very good afternoon to all. So this webinar is a continuation of Future Skill Prime. We are offering a bridge course in the field of cybersecurity. Currently, we are offering the bridge course as a title, Pragmatic Approach to Cybersecurity. The main objective of this course to equip all the IT and non-IT professionals the strong fundamentals in cybersecurity domain. The course itself aligned with the National Occupational Standards defined under the NSQF, National Skill Qualification Framework. Along with the course, you have a virtual laboratory. So whatever the lab sessions are there, you can practice by your own. The target audience for the course is all the fresh recruits, those who are currently doing any internship or apprenticeships, and all the IT employees who work in IT firms as well as in non-IT firms. And also non-IT employees also eligible for taking this course. And any central government or state government employees are also eligible to take in the course. The course fee for pragmatic approach to cybersecurity is 1,200. One of the unique advantage of this course is after completing the course, immediately you can receive the course completion certificate from C-DAC Hyderabad. Apart from that, there will be a certification which was conducted by NASCOM. Once you give satisfy the criteria of NASCOM, you will receive the SSC NASCOM certificate. Apart from that, you also receive the 600 rupees incentive. That means you are paying fees of 1,200. In that, 50% will be received as incentive after clearing the SSC NASCOM certificate. Okay. So the syllabus for pragmatic approach to cybersecurity is starting with Linux environment, TCP/IP security, security threats and vulnerabilities, cryptography, network security, overview of end system security, overview of network defense, application security, threat modeling, and malware analysis. So these are all the syllabus which was covered in this pragmatic approach to cybersecurity. And the registration link I'm going to share the entire browser in the chat. Also, I'm going to share the registration link. So those who are interested to join the course, you can click the registration, you can go through the registration link and then you can make register by yourself. If you have any doubts, if you have any queries, you can contact us at csfs@cdac.in. So that is also available in the browser. So meanwhile, in this webinar, I'm going to share the browser in the chat, as well as I separately share the registration link. So any doubts, any clarification, you may contact at any time at csfs@cdac.in. So thank you. Over to you, Anusha.
So here, before going to the session, I extend my sincere gratitude to the C-DAC Hyderabad as well as the team involved in this particular webinar who invited me to present a topic here. So this is a wide platform where...
Am I audible to you, Prakash sir?
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, whether I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Okay, so I extend my sincere gratitude to the C-DAC Hyderabad team as well as Dr. Dayanidhi and Anisha who have invited me to present a webinar on cybersecurity where we are today. So it is my immense pleasure to thank the entire team for inviting me. So with this small gratitude, I am just starting my session. I'll be sharing my screen. Just a minute. So is my screen visible? Okay, so the topic of today's discussion is redefining cybersecurity vision for the new normal working strategy. So here you can understand the concept of cybersecurity in general. I think the audience are from various backgrounds. Based on these various backgrounds, I can just grab that all of you may be aware about the cybersecurity in general. But on the other end, we have to think about what about the today's scenario after the recent COVID pandemic. So most of the particular transactions or our day-to-day life cycle has been changed to the online mode. So that is what I'm talking about here as new normal. So earlier it was different. So this kind of pandemic situation is new to everyone. So because of that reason, we are now moving all our domestic life activities to the different kind of working strategy, which is something what we are unexpected. So that is what we are now focusing. Hence, as we are moving on to the online kind of transactions, whatever may be the case, whether it may be a business or purchasing groceries or talking about healthcare. Okay, so everything is going online now. So are we really secure in while doing such kind of transaction? This is the question that normally will rise. So that has to be addressed. So normally cybersecurity is the particular domain available for the past 30 to 40 years. We are talking about initially the information security, then we moved on to the data security, then we moved to the network security, and now we are into the cyber security. But why we are speaking this kind of cyber security today widely? So because of this kind of working strategy, what we are facing now. So we are new to this. Okay, so that is the reason why we can take this topic and we can discuss something about what is this, what is the cyber security domain we are talking about, what kind of attacks we are facing, and also we have to know about some of the glimpses of protecting our data. So we cannot able to cover everything at a single stretch, but somehow some kind of what we can see overview we can give. Okay, so that is my topic of discussion today. So with this, I'll be sharing some of the snapshots here. So you can see the first snapshot. It is a kind of mail received after this COVID pandemic, where we can see that snapshot is a mail received from some particular anonymous entity, and it is showing the details like this. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention continues to closely monitor. So some mail has been frequently received in your email also. So are these mails trustable? And it is asking to just click on the link that has been given here. So whether we are supposed to click on the link and see what is the outcome. So here you can see the way how the people are being caught to the threats. So that particular mail says that there are many confirmed cases in your city. So this is a kind of gossip happening through the mail which you are receiving from any anonymous user or any kind of people whom you are not knowing. So this is the problem what we are facing today's scenario. So people are getting into are scared enough while receiving such kind of mails. Okay, not only mails, you can see this particular detail. It is a kind of text message which has been received in your mobile phone. Here also you can see the different content present in this SMS. Because of the COVID-19 outbreak, we will give out free iPhone 11 smart devices and it is asking to click. Similarly, $1,000 has been given or has been pre-approved, which can be claimed online at this particular link. So on looking into this kind of details, if you are just clicking on the link, it will be asking for your personal data. So basically, some of the people like us are technically knowing this kind of problems earlier because we are into the IT sector already. But what about the normal people? So that is what I'm talking about. The normal life today is different before pandemic and after pandemic. So as everyone is moving on online, the elderly people or those who are working the first time into the online kind of functionality are struggling a lot. On looking into this kind of link, they will just click on it and they will got prey to the cyber attackers. So this is what we have to think about. So here also you can see another kind of mail which has been received like this. So all such kind of mails, SMS, WhatsApp messages are not actually authentic. Okay, so such kind of threats and vulnerabilities or attacks are happening regularly, and they are all targeting the novice users who are the first time users of online transactions. So this is what we have to be very cautious in generating. Okay, yes, moving on to the next snapshot. You can see there are two kind of snapshots shown here. Okay, so this particular snapshot is taken from the Dropbox. So Dropbox is a repository or database where we can able to dump enormous data. It can able to hold huge data where we can keep our all our what we can say uh, secure data. So the particular data which has to be kept securely. So which we cannot maintain in our laptop or in our mobile. So what we can do here is we are supposed to make use of this Dropbox. Not only Dropbox, it's similar to that of the Google Drive, okay, or OneDrive. So wherever you are having this kind of facility, you can able to store the data in the cloud, and the cloud will be maintaining the data. So this is what we are having here, and here is a question for the audience. Which one is the fake and which one is original? Shall someone tell me? Possible? So there are two snapshots shown from the Dropbox. You can able to identify the fake and original, which is original and which is fake. Someone shall put in chat also otherwise. So that I can understand how far you are aware about this kind of attacks on this kind of fake messages or mails or snapshots or screenshots, anything. Be able to just find out. Otherwise, whether the audience can input and answer, is it possible? Yeah, the first one is original or fake? The first one is original, fine. Whereas the second is fake. Is that the way how you are telling? Here, the first one in the sense means I'm just pointing out the arrow, the mouse pointer arrow, whether this is original. Okay, fine. This is original, right? Yeah. So if this is original, how will you differentiate which is original and fake? Only the experts can able to analyze. Okay, so that is what we have to think about normally. Okay, step next. So otherwise, the novice users cannot able to understand the difference between these two, and they may get thrown into the fake mail IDs or fake Dropbox or any kind of software, and they will enter all their original data or personal data into it. So this is what we have to understand. Moving on to the next slide, again I am showing another particular snapshot here. Okay, this snapshot shows a particular files, a list of files that has been encrypted, and that files has been encrypted, and it has been showing the extension of like this .moba.object. You can see the actual file is arrear list, BTech syllabus semester 1 and 2, book 1.xls, classroom allotment 2019-2020, event.pdf. So these are all the actual files, but this actual files has been given with another extension that like moba.log. So that means these files are present in our laptop or any desktop systems, which has been normally available in the hard disk, and these files has been encrypted. Okay, once if it is encrypted by the concerned specific entity, and it will be giving the extension of that entity. So like moba.log here, you can see all this stuff. And what you are thinking about this moba.log? What exactly it is? Someone shall please tell me here. Okay. What we are considering this moba.log. Someone shall please answer in chat box otherwise. So let us have this kind of discussion interactively, so that I can able to understand how far you are all aware about this kind of cyber security features, attacks, everything. So that is what I want to be able to say the answer. Otherwise, see, the mobile.logbit is otherwise called as the ransomware. So ransomware is a kind of attack happening nowadays, as you know. And this attack, what they will do is they will encrypt all our data present in our system, which is present the hard disk of our system. And once it is encrypted, you cannot able to work with any kind of data, whether it may be a normal Word or Excel or a PowerPoint, or it may be any kind of application software files. Nothing can be worked out because everything has been encrypted. So now what they will do is this ransomware people, hackers, once they have performed this kind of encryption, the next they will just target you with this particular threatening messages. What kind of messages they have sent? You just look into that. Okay, so all these contents has been sent by the attackers. So you can see this particular specific line. Price of private key and decrypt software is $980. So that means they are threatening the concerned victim where the data has been encrypted with their ransomware. And if the particular victim wants to decrypt the data, they have to give a key. Okay, because here the ransomware attack is done purely by means of using the cryptography algorithms. Cryptography means what we are talking about here is the original data has been encrypted. Okay, encrypted in the sense means it has been converted into some other meaningless text. And that is for that conversion or for that encryption, we are using some keys. The keys may be either public or private keys. So those who are aware about these cryptographic algorithms may be knowing this fact. Others simply just think about there is a specific technique where we can encrypt the data or where we can convert the data into meaningless. And if I want to get back the original data, I have to decrypt it. So the concept of encryption and decryption is called cryptography, and this cryptography technique has been used by the ransomware attackers. So they will be encrypting all our data, and they will, and if you want to decrypt it, we have to get the key. So the key will be provided by the attackers, and they are charging some amount. So that is the ransom amount they are asking. So for getting the decryption key, they are charging or they are asking for some ransom, and hence we are calling this attack as ransomware attack. So this is the charge, $980. You just imagine $1,000 almost. 1,000 into 80, you just imagine 80,000 rupees. So this particular attack has been happened to a particular college professor. Okay, so all his data has been encrypted. So a college professor may not have this kind of lump sum amount immediately to recover the data. And unfortunately, what they are saying here is, you can see the next line, discount of 50% is available if you contact us first 72 hours, which they will be reducing the price to $490. See, in order to open my data, which is present in my system, I have to pay these people, and they are providing a discount for this. What a crucial thing. Okay, this is the tragic thing what we have to think of. And not only this part, also they are sending another message to the concerned victim like this. If we are trying to make use of the third party software to decrypt the particular encrypted text, they are just threatening like this. Okay, you can see the message again. Any attempt to restore your files with the third party software will be fatal for your files. That means, so I don't want to pay the lump sum. Instead, what I am doing is I am searching for some of the software companies or cyber security companies. There are many cyber security companies like CrowdStrike, FireEye, McAfee, okay, K7. So many software companies, cyber security companies are there. So, and I am approaching them and asking for the software, and they will be helping me to decrypt the text, okay, directly. So there comes the issue. Okay, so what they are saying is, if I am trying to approach I may make use of any third-party software, all my data will be gone, clear out. So there is no other go. We have to pay the ransom and we have to get the data. That is the only way what we can do. And this kind of ransomware is called as mobile.login ransom. Okay, so this is one kind of ransomware attack which I am practically showing to you. And there are other kind of ransomware like Big Boss Rose, Mapo, Save the Coin. All are such kind of ransomware which you can see from this particular URL. Okay, how to uninstall Big Boss Rose ransomware. So, and also remove Mapo ransomware from the operating system. And also you can see system. So it is not opening. It seems like I just go like this. Oh, I will just click on this. Sorry. Yeah. So this is kind of another ransomware. How to remove save the queen ransomware from systems. So these are all the sample ransomware what has been listed out for your understanding. Big Boss Rose, Mapo, Save the Queen, Lockbit. There are numerous such kind of ransomwares available, and as a cyber security enthusiast, you have to know all this kind of ransomware attacks. Okay, otherwise it will be very difficult to safeguard. So what to do here? How to secure our data, because they are directly attacking our system and they are just encrypting all our data from the hard disk. The only way as of now to overcome this problem is you have to keep the backup of this. So take the backup of your hard disk content, data content frequently. Otherwise, you just keep all your personal data at some particular secure location. So otherwise, this is a normal thing happening in today's scenario. You would not think like it is happening to someone else. Okay, so what I'm showing this mobile.login ransomware happened in 2020. So you can see in 2020 we are at the peak of COVID pandemic situation. So at that time only these kind of attacks are very much frequently attacking all such kind of systems. So this happened to a one simple college professor. Okay, it is not that they are targeting only the big shots or business people. They are targeting each and every one. Okay, so this is all what I want to share with you. So now we can just, based on these kind of snapshots, I can just start like this. We are dealing with more data through time than ever before. This is what I told you initially. So in today's scenario, we are doing everything through online. So we are paying the amount for any kind of purchase through KTM or through PhonePe or through GPay. All these UPI transactions we are doing only through online. Okay, so that is what we have to understand the scenario here. So that means what, the technology is such innovative. Okay, which changes everything, the business path, entrepreneur's mindset, and what now COVID-19 changes all our mindset. Okay, so that is the reason what we have to analyze. So before 2019, it was happening here and there. But today, everyone is doing online transaction. Each and every shop, whether it is the board shop, they are also having that particular phone pay or GPay. Okay, so this kind of technology changes had immense impact on the global economy as well as business operations around the world. So that is what we have to understand the things. Okay, so we are just moving to various innovations regarding the transactions, regarding the applications, regarding the particular technology. But what is not changed? Okay, it is an organization responsibility to protect data and secure systems to reduce the risk. So we are moving into all these technologies, fine. We are just purchasing everything through online, fine. We are just asking for some consulting through online, fine. But are we just thinking about how to protect all our data, or we are securing our systems to reduce the risk? There comes the biggest question. Okay, so in the next 5 years, you can just conclude like this: cybercrime will be the greatest threat to every individual, place, and thing in the world. So it is not only for some business organization or for IT sector. So cybercrime is the threat for each and every one. Those who are listening, okay, maybe from different domains, maybe from IT, maybe from business organizations. They may be a student or poor it may be. So next 5 years, you can easily understand that it will be everywhere. Cybercrime is the major threat and it will be everywhere. So with evolving technology comes evolving hackers. So we are moving on to IoT, we are moving on to cloud technology, we are moving on to artificial intelligence, we are moving on to data science. But whatever the technology is evolving, similarly the hackers are also behind. Okay, so that is what we have to consider here. So finally, we can just conclude like this: whether the cyber security applies to the IT sector only. Okay, so what we can say in general, it's not like that. It's every employee's issue. So not for IT people only. So cyber security domains should be applicable to each and every person. It affects cyber security affects everyone. So the culture of cyber security is now a shared responsibility. So this is what everyone has to consider at this point. Okay, it is not only a cyber security is a domain which is present in the IT. No, it is happening everywhere. So we have to think about the cyber attacks. Okay, so how we can able to define the scope of cyber security? So we can define like this: it entails protecting what, from who, and means of protection. So what we are going to protect, whether we are protecting my data, yes. Whether I am protecting my application software, yes. Whether I am protecting my network, that is internet or what intranet, yes. Whether I am protecting my hardware, yes. Okay. So cyber security is considered to protect everything. That is what we have to say. What means it is for protecting hardware, software, network, and data. And from who? Okay, from whom we are just protecting all these things. Either it may be external threat or internal threats or attacks. Okay, whoever it may be. So there is one scenario what we can consider here is attacks. Everyone is thinking is happening externally. There is someone outside our environment and they are attacking our data. Don't think like that. That is also another problem. Okay, so the attackers may be internal. So how to overcome this kind of insider attacks? That also we have to analyze. So that is what we are defining as tool and means. So what kind of means can be applied to protect our data? Just we have to think about practices. Okay, so this is another scenario what we have to think about. In general, everyone is just scared now. Okay, right, all my data, how I can secure it. So this kind of tense the feeling will be happening in each and every mindset. Kindly don't get worried. Okay, most of the data has been exposed by a human error one. We ourselves are just exposing our data through WhatsApp, through Facebook, and any social media. So we have to think about the practice of securing ourselves by keeping our personal data internally and not disclosing outside. So that is one thing what we have to get practice always. And technology, we have to understand how to mitigate this kind of attacks and threats. So that is what we are discussing to some extent here. And what is the process we are going to apply to protect the data. So this is what we can define as the scope of cyber security. Okay, now we can understand the main point. Cyber security is imperative to any type of industries. That is what we have. Using data as their assets. So whichever industry, okay, is using the data, they have to keep their data secure. Otherwise, any kind of such kind of ransomware attack just now we discussed will happen. Okay, now what are all the industries that has been affected by the cyber attackers? Let us see. any industry possessing the sensitive data. Okay, so you can see the list of industries, the top 5 industries which are in greatest threat. Okay, healthcare, finance, retail, manufacturing, and government agencies. So you can able to think about the global business economy within this 5 industry sector itself. Healthcare by default. So the initial email snapshots what I had shown to you is related to the healthcare one. Finance. Many finance companies are targeted by the attackers. Retail business is also targeted. So automotive, electronics, pharmaceutical, all such kind of industries are targeted by this kind of data breach. Government agencies by default, you would heard some of the news. Our other parts has been disclosed. It has been known to everyone. So how this is happening? How this kind of news are spreading? Okay, so we have to think about the danger of the data breach. Okay, so what we have to think analyze here is how we have to just mitigate or overcome this kind of problems. We can able to just solve this only through the knowledge and practicing of cyber security. So you have to know about what is the type of attack happening. So how to overcome this? So some kind of knowledge is required. Some kind of practice has to be applied, and it should be present with everyone in all integrated disciplines. Okay. So you can see from marketing to production and from energy to IT sector. So everywhere the attack is there. Attack vectors are present in marketing, sales, production, manufacturing, energy, everywhere. Okay. So we have to just uh, think about how to get into this particular solution, okay, by means of some practice and knowledge. Okay, right. So here I am listing out the top 10 cyber attacks. So the first attack is the phishing and spear phishing attack. Okay. So this is what is this phishing? Phishing means just in the earlier I had shown this case snapshot to you. So to differentiate between the fake and original Dropbox. So this is a kind of phishing. So any particular attacker could able to design the home page, okay, of a particular authenticated web application or website easily. So they can able to design the home page because it is just a matter of some HTML or JavaScript or PHP or Python. Using any kind of scripting languages, they can design a home page of this authenticate website very quickly, and they will just pass on this particular website to the novice users who are unaware. So immediately once they put their data, username or password into that fake page or fake web page, what will happen? That particular data has been sent to the attacker's website or attacker's forum. So this is all what we are talking about the phishing. So there are phishing websites, phishing emails. Okay. So and also we are having different types of phishing like whale phishing, spear phishing, smishing. All are coming under this phishing attack. So in order to differentiate between phishing and spear phishing, phishing is the common way of creating a fake web page or fake mail, email, or something like SMS. Whereas spear phishing is just creating the same web page or email to spoof the targeted people. So spear phishing is targeting some celebrity or some kind of top-notch people, CEOs of big companies. Okay, so that is what we are taking this as the phishing and spear phishing attacks. Then comes the deep fakes. This is another kind of attack which is evolving now. So now the attackers are earlier we used to create morphing. So we have to apply some graphics and morphing techniques to just change the face or of the original people with a morphed face or morphed body. So this kind of morphing and graphics pictures already you would have heard through some news channels or some media. But this that morphing and changing the particular original face with the duplicate face are all easily traceable by just viewing normally with our naked eye we can trace it. But what about these deep fakes? So they are making use of the machine learning and AI algorithms to manipulate this kind of image. Okay, and they will just create a face swapping or some other particular technique or the algorithm of machine learning, which will clearly produce the exact face. Okay, that is exact duplicate face into the original face of the celebrities. Now, what will happen? We cannot able to differentiate quickly. Our naked eye cannot able to understand this kind of differentiation. Even sophisticated algorithms cannot differentiate this. So this is another kind of attack which is happening in today's scenario. You can search in Google for more details on deep fakes. The third is the 5G. So we are talking about the 5G, 6G, 7G and all. So and we are moving on to the 5G networks and we are just expecting, okay, my network bandwidth is slow. So when I will get 5G, so that I can able to connect with internet very fast. Yes, this is one way the technology is growing. But on the another way, what we can consider is this 5G is also prone to attack, where it will attack while handing off calls and data. So that is what we are talking about. Wireless carriers are handing off more calls and data to Wi-Fi networks in a bid to save the bandwidth. So for example, if you are traveling through a train, okay, and you are using the Wi-Fi, and if you are having this particular Wi-Fi network, what you will think while it is going to the remote location, while the train is moving to the remote location, you will be not getting the signal. So after some time again, you will be getting back the signal. So this happens because there is no network coverage there, there is no tower there. This is the normal trend what we can think about. But in 5G, what is the advantage? We are having the particular cable and particular network everywhere, so that handing off one call or data from one location to another location or one tower to another tower is very fast. Okay, so what the attackers will do, they will target this particular handover process. Okay, so while handing off or handing over one particular location to another location, or from one network to another network, or from one particular tower to another tower, there is an opportunity for the attackers to compromise the security at that point. So this is all the vulnerability what we are having in the top 10. And the fourth is the cloud jacking. So those who are aware about the cloud computing may be understanding this kind of attacks. It is all related to the SQL injection and XSS attacks, cross cross-site scripting attacks. Okay, so this is something uh, which is happening in the cloud also. So we cannot able to trust on the cloud. Okay, cloud technology is also prone to attack. The next one is the ransomware attack. That is what I explained just few minutes back. So you would have got the awareness on this. The next sixth attack is the insider threat. Again, I told you. So we are normally thinking that attacks will be happening from external entities. No. So the internal entities or employees or organization themselves will become an attacker. Okay. So you can see the percentage. 34% of the pictures are fall with the internal attacks only, internal actors. Okay, so this kind of insider threats may not be recovered or may not be taken care by the antivirus or anti-malware tools, because that person is also an authenticated person, that entity is also authenticated. So only the authenticated entity is becoming a threat. So it cannot be overcome by means of the normal antivirus or anti-malware tools. Okay, this is another kind of attack which you have to be very aware. The seventh attack is IoT based. Yes, IoT technology are now happening everywhere. IoT has been applied to any kind of domain. It has been applied to agriculture, applied to healthcare. So obviously, what happens as IoT is growing, parallelly the attack is also happening. Okay, this is also another kind of attack which you have to be aware. Then mobile malware. This I don't explain. Everyone is using mobile phones, and you are all well aware about this kind of attacks in general. And the ninth attack is BYOD policies. Bring your own device. Because what is happening now, as any any of the entities or organization, business organization are understanding about the COVID pandemic. And in our future also there may be a number of variants is coming out. So now most of the companies are making the employees to work from home. Okay, and it is also now practically applicable and also economically feasible for the companies. As it is economically feasible, now what is the thing? We have to bring our own devices for working with the company. So I have to bring my own laptop, own mobile phone, own network, everything. So the company will be providing the money for that. Fine. But how can they check whether your laptop or mobile phone or network are not prone to attacks? That we cannot able to find out. The company cannot able to find out into each and every home. Okay, so that is the problem, and that is what the attack happening due to this work from home strategy. And finally, we are talking about the DDoS attack, and the expansion is distributed denial of service attacks. So you just imagine you are using the IRCTC website for booking the ticket for Diwali tickets. So suddenly the particular IRCTC web server is not working. What will happen? So almost all Indians will suffer a lot. They cannot book the tickets for going to their hometown during Diwali. So this is the kind of service that has been denied by the IRCTC web server. So the web server cannot able to provide the service. It is not available for the service. And that is what we are calling as denial of service. The service is denied. Okay, and this is happening through the cloud. This is because IRCTC web server is not a single server, it has been distributed. So hence we shall call this kind of attack as distributed denial of service attack. Okay, so these are all the top 10 cyber attacks which everyone should be aware about. Okay, now the question is how to identify these cyber attacks. Okay, so we can able to explore more kind of functionality, procedures, tools to know about all this kind of cyber attacks, which is a lengthy process. But I will start with some of the understanding related to the cyber attacks, which you are all commonly working in your regular life. Okay, so that is what I am going to talk here for a few minutes. Cyber attacks demystified. That is how you are understanding these cyber attacks. Okay, how it has been revealed. Let us think about this particular topics like why should you use password? Why should your password be strong enough? Okay, so generally this is what every particular web application, if you are signing up and if you are registering some particular information, it is asking for your strong password with a combination of alphabet, numeric, and special character. Okay, this is now becoming mandatory. Earlier it was not like that. Okay, so why? That is the first question we have to understand. Second is many of your Gmail or any kind of mail accounts are getting spam mails or junk mails. So how can we trace who had sent these mails to us? Okay, so that also we have to look into. The next is third is yeah, I'm talking about the phishing websites or phishing mails, and I also asked you to differentiate between the fake and original. So let me test your IQ on phishing to some extent. Okay, so that you can able to understand by yourself whether you are aware about this kind of phishing attacks. Okay, so these are all the topics what we can just focus for a few minutes. Yeah, the first question what we have to address is why should your password be strong? So here there is a question for all of you. So you are entering your username and password or any web applications. If it is asking for signing up or registering your information, you are providing the username and password. In what way these passwords will be stored in the particular email application or in the particular web server or database server? Any idea? Anyone, sir, please explain to me. Put it in the chat box. How the password has been stored after you entered your password manually for registration for signing up, what will happen to that password? Shall anyone know about this? Just please share it in the chat box. Otherwise, kindly provide your details. Put it in the chat. Okay, so I think you are not aware, it seems. That is fine. Okay, I will explain here. Most of your passwords or almost all the leading email applications or any kind of yeah, system. So any kind of password which you are just entering or creating from your Gmail account or any web application, it is not stored as plain text in the respective email server or web server. It has been stored in the form of hash code, or more specifically, we shall call it as cryptographic hash code, or we also call it as message digest. That means our password has been converted into 64-bit hash code or 128-bit hash code or even more than that, 256-bit or 512-bit hash code. So there are specific algorithms to convert this kind of passwords into hash code, like a message digest 5 SHA, secure hash algorithm version 1, secure hash algorithm 256, secure hash algorithm 512, all such kind of algorithms are used, okay, for converting your passwords into the cryptographic hash code. Once if the hash code has been generated into 64-bit or 128-bit or 256-bit, it cannot be revealed by any kind of attacker. Not only the attacker, even the Gmail or the web application uh, uh, where you are entering your passwords, once it is converted into the respective hash code, they also cannot able to view your passwords or know your passwords. The Gmail or any web applications who are providing this opportunity, who are just having this facility to convert your password into hash code, they could not also open it. So that is the beauty of this kind of passwords. And this password, if it is stored as plain text, it is easy to break. So any of the password has been converted into its equivalent hash code or message digest or simply hash. Okay. So if you are signing up for an email address and password, the passwords are run into the hashing algorithm and stores the hash of your password. So if you are logging into your mail, any kind of email I am talking about here, what they will do, they will serve the email service hashes the password. That means the password has been converted into hash, and that hash has been stored in the particular database. So once if you log in each time and if you are providing the password, immediately the password has been converted into hash, and that hash has been matched with the database server's hash code, because already you created that password and that hash code has been generated at the beginning, and that has been stored in the database earlier, and each and every time if you are logging in, that particular hash code has been matched with the database hash code. If both matches, then only it will be authenticating you and make you to enter into the Gmail application or web application. So unless you are duped into giving your password in a phishing attack, this will be secure enough. But I told you the phishing attack is already there. So in phishing attack, they will be creating a similar kind of web pages, and they will ask you to enter the password. And if you accidentally enter the password in the fake website, then they could easily get the password direct. That is a different case. So there we cannot be able to safeguard the password. Okay, it is all up to the mindset of others. But generally speaking, all this kind of application software are providing such facility. Okay, so this we have to now. For this, I am showing a demo here. What you can do here is, if you are just sitting before your laptop or mobile phone or any other electronic gadget. If you are looking into this particular presentation, we can do it directly. What I will do it, I'm just clicking this link, Md5 Hash Generator. So this is the specific hash algorithm, messages version 5 hash generator algorithm. Here I am creating a password. Okay, simple password ABCD, and I am generating the hash code for this password. So it is generated in two algorithms. One is based on MD5 and another one is SHA1, Secure Hash Algorithm. So see, you can see the way how ABCD has been converted. It has been converted into 64-bit or 128-bit. Okay, so that is what you can see the hash code generation. You don't worry about how this algorithm is working. That is a different category. Only thing what you can understand is your password is not directly stored in your web application or email application. It has been just stored the form of hash code like this. Okay. So now what I am doing here is, again I am moving on to the slide. I am just creating, I am going to another website. This is md5online.org. This is another website. Yeah, see, I am just opening two websites. The first website is Md5 Hash Generator. I'm just generating a hash code for the password, and the password is very simple, ABCD, and the hash code is generated here. I'm just copying here. Then I am moving on to the next website, Md5 Decryption. So this is another website, a different website, Md5 Online. So there is no connection between this website and that website. So now what I am doing here is I'm just copying this hash code here, and I am trying to decrypt. Now what we can see, easily the particular password is found. So now the logic is what, even if you are performing the hash code, even if your email application or any web application is generating the password to hash code which is secure enough, still it can be decrypted by means of this kind of applications or this kind of software. Okay, now what I can do is I can just make the password to be still more strength. So I'm adding the numeric characters A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. Again, I am generating. Now I am having a different MD5 hash code. I am copying this again. Again, I am going here, just copying this and decrypt. So this is also revealed. So this is also not secure. Now what I am doing here is, so like this I can think about the combination of alphabets and numerics or special characters. So you can see the weak passwords, average passwords, and so on. Okay, I am using two different websites. One website for generating the hash code, another website for decrypting the hash code. So the attackers can easily grab this kind of passwords very quickly, because this kind of decryption of hash code is present in everywhere. Okay, that means the particular software is available everywhere. So now we can see the same password hash generation with SHA 256 algorithm. This is something what we can say. So the earlier what I have shown as the demo is having only 64-bit or 128-bit size. Now I am having a different algorithm which is SHA 256. Okay, here I am providing the same ABCD. So the same password, but I am generating the hash code. Oh, sorry. Sorry, actually I'm trying to encrypt this, but it is actually decrypting it. What I will do here is, yeah, I will move on to this part, Md5 online. Okay, so here, sorry, not this. I am moving on to this. Okay, so I am just selecting SHA 256 hash generator. Okay, so again I am going to this particular scenario. So now I am generating a SHA 256 hash from a string. Again I am giving ABCD here, and I am generating the hash code. So here you can see this is the SHA 256 hash code. So the size of the particular hash code is big enough compared to the earlier MD5. So this is big enough. Now I am just copying it. Again I am moving to this decryption. I am just pasting here, and I am trying to decrypt. Now the scenario here is it is not accepting. Okay, so this is one way we can think about the security. Another way here is I am putting that hash code here. Okay, so this is the 64-digit SHA 256 hash code. You shall count. Okay, if you're counting, you may be getting 64-digit SHA 256 hash code. Now I am decoding or decrypting. Oh, sorry, showing error. Yes, you can see I am getting the string back. So the password is not strength enough. Okay, why? Because even if I'm using the size of the password to be encrypted with a stronger hash algorithm, stronger hash algorithm is SHA 256, but still we cannot able to secure it properly. Why? Because the password is very simple enough. Okay, so this is what I want to reveal to you. So what is the strongest password? Then I will take this logic, this particular string, and I am moving on to this. What I will do here is, instead of ABCD, yeah, now I am just giving a password with various combinations like special characters, numbers, alphabets, everything. Now I am just generating the hash code. I am getting this 64-bit hash, sorry, 64-digit hash code. I am copying it again, and I am moving on to this particular location, and I am just giving this hash code here, and now let me see. Sorry, the captcha is not working. See, it is not showing. Okay, it is showing like something, no conversion available. So the idea here is what I want to insist you is we have to create a password of such kind of combination, alphabets, numerics, and special characters. Only then the particular hash code generated, okay, out of the algorithm like SHA 256 or SHA 512, they could able to produce a stronger password. If otherwise, if you are having still ABCD 123 or any name along with some numeric characters alone, still it is not secure. Okay, so this is because there are numerous such kind of decryptors that hash code decoders are available. So many hash code decoders are freely available. So any attackers can easily grab that hash code which has been present in the database server. They can able to hack it, download that particular hash code, and they will convert into the respective equivalent text, plain text very quickly, easily by means of having this kind of hash decoders. Okay, so this is all about a generic awareness what I want to create within you. This is one kind of awareness what we can understand. The next is, so now the time is 3:32. I'm having another 8 minutes. Okay, fine. So here, how to know your spam email origins. Okay, all of you are getting spam emails. Okay, you know that. So how to track this? For this, you can go to this particular ip2location.com. So this is a kind of free email tracer software which is available. Sorry. It's not just- Yes, this is a kind of email tracer which can able to trace our email origin. Okay, so what is the IP address of the email sent to your location or sent to your email contact? For example, here I am just moving on. I am just looking into the spam mails. So there are many spam mails like this. Okay, so I can select any of the spam mails here. So here, see, this is a kind of spam mail received from some particular entity. What I have to do, I have to move on to these three vertical dots, show original. So now I am getting this header information of that particular email sent by that particular entity. I am copying here. Okay. After copying this header, I am just pasting this header here. So this is what I am doing, email header. I am just clicking on the lookup button. Now what happens, I can see the origin of that particular email. So from where it has been sent, the IP address is known, the country is known, the region and city is known, the service provider is known, everything we can able to get here. So this is the way how we can able to trace our email contact, email origin. So the IP address can be easily found. So this is one another awareness what you have to think about in generic. So that particular snapshots has been shared here. Okay, so the same thing I have shown as demo for you. So there is another, so like this IP2 location email tracer, we are also having other email header analysis tools. Okay, so there are many email tracers available. One another tool is MX Toolbox. So this toolbox is not only tracing the IP address, but also look for these kind of activities like checking the email health, checking the blacklist IP addresses, DNS lookup, and so on. So you can explore on yourself and see what how, and the way how it can be explored. Okay, so how we you can just find out the blacklist IP address, how we can look up the domain name service. Many such kind of similar kind of tools are available, which you can directly explore, and this is one another tool which you can able to understand. So this is the another snapshot of that particular tool, MX Toolbox. So here what I am listing is I am providing the same email address. So just I will show the demo here. What I will do here is mxtoolbox.com. So I'm just going to the blacklist. I'm going to give the IP address. So the IP address is what I found here from the spam mail. From the spam mail, I found this address, IP address, 58.26.67.87. Just I'm copying this because already that IP address is known to the spam mail. Now I am checking whether it is blacklist or not. See, this is the blacklist IP address. Okay, we notice you are on a blacklist. So this is what we can easily trace. Okay, so whether this particular IP address is authenticated IP address or blacklisted IP address. So easily we can find out any kind of IP address if you are aware. First, you have to know the particular IP address. You have to trace it. Once if you trace that particular IP address, then use this kind of toolbox and find out whether it is blacklist or not. After checking whether it is blacklist or not, then you can see whether we can able to access that mail content or not. So directly you should not access the mail content if you are predicting it is. Yeah, someone raised a hand. Please, Virendra. Yeah, kindly. Yeah, the question and answer session. So I want to explain now.
This IP address and
Yeah, this is IP address. So just now I have, yeah. You can also provide the domain name, website name also, whether it is blacklist or not.
so how the IP address get blacklist and who blacklist this IP address?
Yeah, that is a good question. So this blacklist has been provided by the legal authorities. So there are many particular legal authorities available, forums available. So one such legal authority is who are providing this IP address to us. Okay, so that legal authorities can able to just identify whether that is a authenticated mail, authenticated IP address or blacklisted address. See, you can see the detail here also. Okay, so you have to register for this kind of details. Okay, so you can understand about some kind of spam. Just I have shown my mail. This is a spam mail. So how can you just say this is a blacklist IP address? For that, there are many kind of forums available. Okay, where we can able to grab the details. And yeah, that is not part of our discussion now. But anyway, this is a kind of questions which you should be aware of. So this is what this forum, this particular presentation or webinar will make you to know about how to overcome this overcome from these attacks. Okay, so this is all about the particular emails origins, spam email origins, what I want to discuss with you. Okay, fine. So this is a kind of testing your phishing IQ. So this URL I am providing here. Okay, you can just perform your IQ test on your own by means of clicking on that URL phishingbox.com/phishing IQ test, and you can check by yourself how far you are having the knowledge between the to analyze between the original website and the fake website. So this I will leave it to you. Okay, so you can see the grade. So there will be 10 similar kind of websites or emails which will be shown to you, and you have to click whether it is fake or original. So this is a kind of particular knowledge testing, especially IQ testing of your phishing mails or websites. Okay, so this is all about the phishing mails. So as I already mentioned, there are various forms of phishing: spear phishing, whale phishing, phishing, bombing, phishing, and so on. Okay, so these are all about the particular attacks, phishing attacks, which you should be aware of. Okay, so general phishing attacks and spear phishing attacks I already told you this, and there are few phishing repositories available: phishtank.com and openfish.com, where you can just search for the fake websites, fake phishing websites, phishing mails, phishing URLs, everything. Okay, so using this particular URL, you can just have a knowledge of this kind of phishing attacks. And there is one more demo on phishing attacks, so that I cannot able to explain. Okay, but anyway, you would have already grabbed the knowledge on phishing attacks. And there is one more thing. This is a generic uh, demo. That means what? You can make use of this particular browser history capturer. So all your browser history has been erased by yourself, as you know, from the Chrome or Mozilla Firefox. But even if it is erased, it can be traced by this kind of browser history capturer. So you can download this and check with your Chrome browser or Mozilla Firefox on your. And finally, I want to just conclude with this demo file. So all of you just check this website. Okay, so type this website. Have I been pwned? Have I been pwned.com. So you can just parallel type. Okay, on your browser, and after typing, after clicking this, have I been pwned, you will be getting this page. So there you shall type your email or phone number and check whether this is pwned or not. Pwned means attack. Okay, so whether your email or phone is in a data breach or not, that can be easily checked. A simple check about your email or phone number, whether your phone number or email is in a data breach or not. Have I been pwned? pwned.com. This is another particular way of finding out the whether our email address or whether my phone number is pwned or not. Okay, so here see, I had given my personal mail ID is pwned. That means what? You can see from this snapshot itself, it has been pwned on 6 breached sites. Because the idea is what? My email ID was created 20 years back. So this mail ID has been present in any kind of vulnerable websites or attackers website, but it has not been used directly on me. Why? Because I am not that much rich, unfortunately. Okay, so this is all about what I want to share with you. And this particular website has been created by the expert Roy Hunt on December 4, 2030. Okay, these are all the 10 top web application security risks which you should be aware of. Injection, broken authentication, sensitive data exposure, XML and external entities. All this has been should be known to you. Okay, then only you can able to overcome some of the web application attacks or threats. Okay, so these are all the references what I took for my discussion today. And with this, I am ending my session webinar. Thank you all for patiently listening.
Sai sir, am I audible to you?
Are you able to see the screen? Hello, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So today I'm going to explain you about the ransomware. So this is the agenda of the session. So firstly, I'm going to give you an overview of the ransomware. Then I'm going to explain you what are the different types of ransomware, followed by ransomware kill chain, how the ransomware attack will happen. And finally, I will talk about ransomware analysis and the tools that can be used for analyzing the ransomware. So this is the agenda of the session. I think many of you already heard about this particular malware, Wannacry. So Wannacry is a ransomware which has infected around 2 lakh systems over a period of 7 days. So this Wannacry uses Eternal Blue exploit, which was developed by NSCA. So this Eternal Blue exploit basically exploited the vulnerability in SMB protocol. So we generally use SMB protocol for accessing network shares, printers, etc. So the attackers are able to identify some vulnerability in SMB protocol through which they are able to execute the remote code in the system. So in Wannacry, what they have done is that they are using SMB vulnerability, they have exploited the system and they are able to infect the system. So once the system is infected, they have encrypted all the files in the system. So this is how once the all the files in the systems are encrypted, so they demand a ransom. So unless the ransom is paid, okay, the files will not be decrypted. Okay, so this is one of the most famous ransomware, so which has come in around 2017. Okay, so this is the definition of a ransomware. So ransomware is type of a malware that threatens to publish the victim personal data or restrict or limit the access of the system unless ransom is paid. So generally whenever you talk about a ransomware, so this is how the ransomware attack will happen. So what the attacker will do is, attacker will craft a malicious email, phishing email. So the phishing email contains a malicious links or a malicious attachments. So whenever any user clicks the malicious attachments or a malicious links, a dropper will be downloaded onto the system. So once the dropper is downloaded on the system, it will communicate with the CNC server. So once it communicates with the CNC server, it will download the secondary payload. So this secondary payload is actually acts as a ransomware. So what does this secondary payload will do is, the secondary payload will install on the end system on the victim machine, and once it is installed on the victim machine, it will encrypt all the files in the system. So once all the files are encrypted in the system, it will delete the original files. So now the victim, in order to get back the original files, the victim has to pay a ransomware, a ransom to the adversary or an attacker. So until the ransom is paid, the adversary or attacker will not decrypt the files. Okay, so generally whenever you talk about a ransomware, so they most of the time they use Bitcoin for paying the ransom. The reason is that it will provide anonymity to the attacker, so we don't know to whom we are paying. So that is the reason the one of the channels that they use for transferring the amount is a Bitcoin. So this is how a general ransomware will work. Okay, so now I hope everyone is clear with the ransomware, how it will work. So now I'll go with the different types of ransomware. So there are mainly 3 types of ransomware. One is locker ransomware, crypto ransomware. The other one is doxware. So in locker ransomware, so this locker ransomware is an earlier variant of the ransomware. So during the evolution of the ransomware, most of the ransomware falls into the locker ransomware. So in locker ransomware, what happens is that the ransomware will block the access to the system. So it will show you a pop. So whenever you log in, it will show you a pop-up asking you to pay ransom to unlock it. Okay. So in locker ransomware, it will not encrypt the files. It only locks the system. Okay. It only locks the system. It will not encrypt the individual files. So once you pay the ransom, then only it will allows to unlocking the system. So these locker ransomware are comes in the earlier in the evolution of earlier versions of the ransomware. So coming to the crypto ransomware, now most of the ransomware falls into the crypto ransomware. Like in crypto ransomware, what will happen is that once the system is infected, all the files in the system will be encrypted and all the original files will be deleted. Okay, and a pop-up will be appeared on the system asking a ransom. Till the ransom is paid, the files will not be decrypted. So most of the ransomware falls into the crypto ransomware. Okay, like Wannacry, Petya, all these ransomware will falls into the crypto ransomware. So the other example for the crypto ransomware is Petya. So the Petya is more advanced than Wannacry. So what it will do is, once it infected the system, what it will do is it is going to encrypt the master file table, MFT. Okay, master file table. So master file table is for every file system, there will be a master file table. So master file table contains an entry for each file and a directory. So once the system is infected, it will try to encrypt the master file table along with the complete hard disk. So recovering the data, if it is infected with Petya, is much harder actually. Okay, so instead of encrypting the individual files, in case of Petya ransomware, what it has done is it has encrypted the complete entire file system. Okay, so restoring back to the original state is very quite challenging. Okay, so these are the some of the examples for the crypto ransomware. So almost all the ransomware will right now are falling into the crypto ransomware. The next one is doxware. So when you talk about it, this doxware word is coined using a term called doxing. So what is meant by doxing is, the doxing means threatening an individual to publish their data online. Okay, so whenever you talk about a doxware ransomware, so what it will do is it is going to infect the system. Once the system is infected, it will encrypt all the files in the system, and once all the files are encrypted, it will remove the delete the original files, and once the original files are while deleted, it will copy all the encrypted files to the attacker's machine. So once the files are copied to the attacker's machine, what does the attacker will do is, attacker will decrypt all the files, and he can publish or threaten the victim to publish all the data online. Okay, so in case of doxware, two things will happen. One is that all the files will be encrypted on the system, and also he will threaten the victim that all his data will be published online. So these are the three types of ransomware that most of the ransomware will fall into these categories. So next I'm going to explain you a ransomware kill chain. So basically, whenever a ransomware happens, it will happen over some stages. So this ransomware kill chain will tell you what are the steps that are involved when a ransomware attacks happen. Okay, so if you see the slide, there are around 6 stages are there in the ransomware kill chain. The first stage is campaign, the second stage is infection, the third stage is staging, fourth stage is scanning, fifth stage is encryption, sixth stage is payload. So in the campaign, okay, in the first stage, what does the attacker will do is, attacker is going to create a phishing mail. Okay, that create a phishing mail that contains a malicious link or a malicious document. Okay, so this mail will be circulated to all the persons. Okay, in the this will happen in the campaign phase. So in the infection phase, if any one of the user opens this phishing mail, what will happen is that a payload will be downloaded onto the system. This payload will run, and this payload will communicate with the this payload will communicate with the CNC server, and a secondary payload will be downloaded. In the so once the secondary payload is downloaded, okay, the infection will stage will end. In the third stage is nothing but a staging. So in staging, what will happen is that, so once the malware is downloaded, the malware has to be persistent across the reboot. That means that whenever you reboot your PC, the malware also should start running. That means that the malware should exhibit a persistent behavior across the reboot. So it should either register as a service, or it should register as some scheduler job. Okay, either one of these will be done by the ransomware. And the next thing that it is going to do in the staging phase is that sometimes whenever it is infected, the system may be having the local privileges. So in order to gain the admin privileges, it has to do some additional tasks. So all these things will come under the staging phase. So once the system is infected and ransomware is installed, and it is able to exhibit the persistent behavior, that means that across the reboots, the ransomware is able to run. Whenever you reboot the PC, the ransomware is also able to run whenever your system is up. Okay, the next stage comes is the scanning phase. So in this, in the scanning phase, what the ransomware will do is, the ransomware is going to identify the important resources on the local system as well as on the network resources. So on the local system, what are the important files present? Okay, similarly, what are the shared resources that this system can access? So all these things will be identified in the scanning. And the next stage is called encryption. So in the encryption phase, what will happen is that all the identified important resources will be encrypted, and all the original files will be deleted in the encryption phase. The last one is a payday. So once the encryption of all the identified resources is done, it will pop up to the user, or background of the desktop will be changed, showing that demanding the ransomware. Until the user or the victim pays the ransomware, it will not decrypt the files. Okay, so this is called a ransom kill chain. The ransom kill chain will describe what are the stages that the ransomware will follow in order to infect a PC. Okay. Okay, so so in this slide, okay, if you observe the first row, okay, the first row is represents the ransomware kill chain. We have distribution, infection, staging, scanning, encryption, and payload. Okay, the second row represents how much time it is required to do to complete the particular stage. Okay, so distribution is generally happens on the attacker side, so we did not mention any time. So infection generally happens in a seconds. Like once the user clicks any phishing email, immediately the payload will be dropped. So payload will be dropped and it will be installed. Okay, so all this will happen within a seconds. Okay, the next stage is called staging. The staging will generally takes seconds to hours. The reason is that once the secondary payload is downloaded, okay, if the secondary payload is running in the local privileges, okay, so first thing that the ransomware has to do is to get the admin privileges. So it has to exploit some vulnerabilities within the system to gain the admin privileges. Okay, so once it gained the admin privileges, it need to see how it can evade if any of the antivirus is present. So okay, and also the ransomware should persist across the reboots. So all this will take some seconds to hours actually. Okay, so this staging will happens. The time, the infection, the staging time is generally lies between seconds to hours. Okay, the next one is a scanning actually. So during the scanning phase, what does the ransomware will do is, ransomware is going to scan the local system as well as the network resources. Okay, so if it is an individual system, it may complete the scanning of the system may complete in minutes. But if it is a big organization, the scanning may take a lot of time actually. So that is the reason why we have specified it between minutes to hours. The next phase is encryption. So based on the resources, identified resources, the encryption may take between minutes to the hours. So if you observe this ransomware kill chain, with respect to the security analyst, okay, the opportunity for the analyst is between infection and the encryption. Okay, this is the window in which the analyst can need to identify the ransomware. Okay, so either he should able to identify during the infection stage, staging, scanning, or encryption. So once the encryption is done, okay, it will automatically ask for the ransomware. So we'll get to know that automatically the system is infected. Okay, so the stages between the infection and encryption is the window where the analyst can actually block this particular ransom spreading. Okay, so this is regarding the ransomware. So now we'll talk about the ransomware analysis. Like, why do we require need to do a ransomware analysis? Okay, so most of the time, whenever you do any given a binary, the objective is to find whether a given binary is a malicious or not. Okay, if it is a malicious, okay, what are the techniques that malware is using? Okay, how the malware is persistent, how to whom it is communicating, okay, which files it is accessing, which registries it is modifying, to whom it is talking, okay, what protocols it is using. So all these need to be analyzed. Okay, so this ransomware analysis helps us to find out more about the malware. Okay, so once you understand more about the malware, you can automatically identify the techniques how you can stop the spreading of the malware. And also doing the ransomware analysis helps us to identify a similar kind of attack happened in the other networks as well. Okay, so that is the reason why we do a analysis, a malware analysis or a ransomware analysis. Okay, so whenever you talk about a ransomware analysis, we generally have three techniques. One is static analysis, dynamic analysis, the other one is malware reverse engineering. Okay, so whenever you talk about a static analysis, so in static analysis, given a binary, what we do is we are not going to execute the binary. Okay, we just trying to inspect the binary. So if someone says that do a static analysis, what we do is we take the binary and we'll inspect the metadata of the file. Okay, we'll not run the binary. Okay, so in static analysis, what we do is we analyze the malware without running it. Okay, so here in static analysis, the major objective is to see the metadata of the file and identify the behavior of the particular executable. Okay, so the advantage of the static analysis is that we need not require a large infrastructure for carrying out the static analysis. The reason is that we are not anywhere running the malware. We are just only inspecting the binary. So we don't require a large infrastructure compared to the dynamic analysis. And one important point in static analysis is that the static analysis is very fast. Why? Because we are not running the binary, we are just inspecting the binary. So inspecting the binary, it is somewhat faster compared to the dynamic analysis. But the disadvantage of static analysis is that if the binary is packed, you can't get much information in the static analysis. Okay, so in the dynamic analysis, okay, so what we do is given a binary, so we need an infrastructure or isolated network where you can execute the binary. Okay, so what you do in dynamic analysis is you require an isolated environment. So in the isolated environment, you are going to execute this binary. So once you execute this binary, you are going to identify the properties of this particular binary, such as like what it is doing, what techniques it is using. Okay, to whom it was communicating, what files has been accessed, what registries has been accessed. All these things will get to know more about the particular binary in the dynamic analysis. Okay, but the dynamic analysis is a very time consuming, and also you require a lot of resources to do the dynamic analysis. Okay, and the next one is malware reverse engineering. Okay, so it also comes as a part of the static analysis, but here you require a lot of knowledge on the assembly level. So given a malware or a binary, what we try to do is we try to get the assembly code. Okay, we'll try to get the assembly code. We'll do a reverse engineering from the binary to get the assembly code. So we generally use IDA Pro or Ghidra to get the low level code. So once you have the code, you can try to understand how the malware will works. Okay, so this malware reverse engineering requires a lot of knowledge on the internals of assembly level language, as well as the on the programming knowledge is required. Okay, so this is what we do generally in case of a any malware analysis, either it like keylogger or any ransomware analysis. Okay. So in dynamic analysis, so as I said, in static analysis, the more focus is that on the metadata of the file. But in case of dynamic analysis, we often execute in an this malware in an isolated environment. Okay, so when we run in isolated environment, we need to keep focus on 4 things: what files it is accessing, okay, what are the entries that it is making in the registry, okay, and what are the communication that it is doing over the network, and also we need to inspect the memory of the program to understand how the malware is actually behaving. Okay, so all these things has to be kept in mind when we are doing a malware analysis. So the objective of the malware analysis, like doing the dynamic analysis, is that so here our focus is more on like how it is achieving the persistent, what are the evasion techniques it is doing, how the malware persistence is being done, whether any malware is being dropped, okay, whether it is communicating with any other process in the network. All these things need to be analyzed in case of a dynamic analysis. Okay, so this is why we do an analysis. So to discover the presence of malware, remediating the malware infection, prevent the malware spreading, discover new techniques employed by cyber criminals, producing actionable intelligence and transforming to indicators of compromise, understand the malware techniques, tactics and procedures. Okay, so before you do a like any analysis, okay, so generally we need some lab to carry out the static as well as a dynamic analysis. Okay, so this is a lab setup on a single system. Okay, you have a hardware. On the top of the hardware we have some host operating system. The host operating system can be Linux or Windows. On the top of the host operating system we have a virtualization layer. So on the top of the virtualization layer is nothing but like we can install either a virtual box or a VMware. So these virtual box and VMware act as a virtualization layer. So on the top of that we have the virtual machines. So if you observe in the slide actually, so here we have 3 VMs: VM1, VM2, VM3, okay, which are in an isolated network. Okay, so this isolated network can be achieved by setting an option called host only network option in the virtualization software. Okay, so whenever you set host only network option, automatically these VMs will be isolated from the rest of the networks. Before actually analyzing the malware, we should take the snapshot of the VM. So once whenever you are running the malware, the particular VM will be infected with the malware. So what we need to do is, in order to test again another malware, we need to restore to the clean state. So this restoration will happen using the snapshot. Okay, and also we need to make sure that DHCP service is enabled. So whenever the DHCP service is enabled, automatically all the VMs will get a dynamic IP. So we need not worry about the setting up of the IP manually. Okay, so this is how you can set up a malware analysis lab on a single system. Okay, so whenever you are given a malware or a binary to check whether it is malicious or not, the first thing that we will do is to compute the hash of the binary. So given a binary, we compute the hash. Okay, so whenever you compute a hash, either you will get an MD5 hash or a SSJ hash. Okay, so this hash you can submit to the virus total. Okay, so when you submit to the virus total, what it will do is it will check whether it is a known malware or not. If it is a known malware, what will happen is that the virus total will give you a detailed report, like what are the resources this particular malware will access, like what are the files it will access, what is the registry, how many processes will be created, how many executables will be dropped, to which IP address it will communicate. All the information will be given by the virus total. Okay, along with this, the virus total will also give you the how many antivirus are claiming this as a malicious. So all this count will be given by the virus total. But in case if the malware is not a known malware, okay, it's not a known malware or a new malware, so then you need to do a analysis on your own. Okay, so this is a sample output of the virus total. So if you observe, we have given a Wannacry sample to the virus total. You can see out of 68 antivirus, 62 are claiming this as a malicious. Okay, and it is give a detailed report that saying that this particular Wannacry malware is not signed, and what are the DLLs that this particular malware is containing. Like it is using a 4 DLLs like kernel 32, MSV CRT, user 32.dll, advanced API 32.dll, and what are the entropies of the resource section, and what are the IPs to which it is communicating. Okay, what are the URLs it is communicating, whether there are any shell commands in the binary. All this information will be given by the virus total. So if it is a known malware, we can directly get it from the virus total. If it is not a known malware, and if you want to do a like in-depth analysis, then you should have your own lab setup. Okay, so now this is how the lab has to be set up. Now I'm going to explain you what are the tools that will be used for static analysis and what tools we'll be using for the dynamic analysis. So these are the tools that we will be covering in this session. One is SIGCheck, CFF Explorer, Strings, and PE Studios. Okay, so all these tools are part of the sys internals. Okay, so sys internals is a suite, okay, that contains several tools. Okay, so this is sys internals tools are being provided by the Microsoft. Okay, so you can Google it, sys internal tools, and download it. Okay, so this sys internal tools contains several tools. Around 70 tools are there. Okay, so we are not going to cover all the tools, so we are going to cover some of the important tools in it. Okay, so SIGCheck, CFF Explorer, and Strings are part of the sysinternal tools, whereas PE Studios is not part of the sysinternal tools. You can download it separately. So okay, so first I will be covering you the SIGCheck. Okay, so mainly we use SIGCheck tool to verify whether a particular binary is digitally signed or not. Like if you observe, most of the malwares, what they try to do is they try to tell that this particular binary is signed by the Microsoft, digitally signed by the Microsoft. Okay, so most of the virus claims that this particular binary is signed by the Microsoft. To really verify whether the particular binary is digitally signed by the Microsoft or by the reputed vendor, we can use SIGCheck tool. The SIGCheck tool will help us to find out whether the particular binary is really digitally signed by a particular entity. Okay, okay. And second thing that you can do is you can verify, like whenever a system is infected with some malware, what it will do is it will try to install a fake digital certificate onto your system. So once it will install a fake digital certificate, so what will happen is that you are going, once the fake digital certificate are injected into the system, the malware can intercept your data. It can act as a man in the middle attack. Okay, so all these things are possible. So using SIGCheck tool, you can verify whether there are any fake certificate are installed on the system or not. Okay, so basically it will help us to find two things. One is whether given a binary, it will verify whether the binary is digitally signed by a reputed entity. And second thing that it is going to tell you is that whether any fake digital certificate is installed on the system or not. Okay, so Yuvraj will give you a brief like demo on the SIGCheck tool.
Hello everyone. So to give this demonstration part, what we have done is we have set up one VMware lab, and in that VMware this network is set up with this host only network. Okay, and I have added one Wannacry zip file into the Windows machine. Now I'm going to extract this Wannacry. Okay, so this malware has been extracted. I'm just dragging this to the desktop. Okay, Now we have several tools as we have discussed till this point. So this is a sys internal utility. You can see this is the list of all tools. So in that tools, what we have seen is we are checking the sig check. Okay. So let me open this PowerShell first. Okay. So this is the tool. Okay. And here we need to provide a binary to the sig check tool as a parameter. My name of X is Wannacry. So in this sys internal tools, we have a two version of application. One is for 32-bit application, one is for 64-bit application. So I'm executing for 64-bit application. So if you want to see hashes of the file, we have -h option. Okay. So here we are okay. So this is the hash of this binary that we can see. We can identify the MD5 hash using -h option, and also we can identify SHA-256 hash to form this binary. As well as if you see this, we can see this binary is not verified by a trusted Microsoft partner, right? And we have one more flag for to identify this binary information using sig check is -a option, which give you extended version of this information. So here you can see they have mentioned the copyright is by Microsoft Corporation. So as this binary is maintained by the Microsoft Corporation, but this binary is not verified by the trusted domain. That means it is kind of potential behavior that we can analyze using this tool. Okay. So now we'll continue to the next tool.
So next is the CFF Explorer. Okay. So what the SIG tool helps us to identify whether a particular binary is digitally signed by a trusted entity or not. Okay. So the other important tool is CFF Explorer. Like whenever you talk about any executable in Windows, it will be a PE format. It will be in a PE format. The PE means portable executable format. In Linux, we call it as an ELF. Okay. So since we are actually dealing with Windows executables, what we need to do is we need to read the PE header information. So reading the PE header information will give you a lot of information about the particular malware. Okay, so here in static analysis, as I said you that we are not going to run the malware. We only need to see the metadata of the file. Okay, so since we know that this binary is a Windows binary, so we need to read the information about the PE. Okay, so the CFF Explorer will give you the information about the PE structures. Okay, PE means portable executable structures. Okay, Okay, so this is a, so whenever you open a CF Explorer, you can find the left part of the screen represents the different sections that are present in the PE header actually. Okay, so first one is a DOS header, NT header. Okay, so under NT header we have a file header. After that we have a optional headers. After that we have a section headers. So every file will have some sections like data section, code section, okay, heap section. All these will be there in the section headers actually. Okay, the other important section is the import directory. So as you all aware that whenever you have an executable, it have an external link. It will always load the libraries externally. External libraries will be loaded when you run the program actually. So for this executable, if you observe here, it will have a it is linking dynamically linked to 4 libraries. One is kernel32.dll, user32.dll, advanced API.dll, and the other one is Vcrt.dll. Okay, so we often use kernel32.dll whenever you require a core functionality for accessing and manipulations of memory, files, and hardware. Okay, the other one is user32.dll. So this DLL mainly used whenever you want some user interface components such as button, scroll bar. Okay, so whenever your API contains this, it generally loads the user32.dll. So the other important DLL is advanced API 32.dll. So this generally will be used by the administrator to perform the like high privilege task, like creating a service, modifying the registry. So whenever you find this DLL, it means that the malware required some administrative privileges. Okay, we'll be doing some work related to the administrative privileges. Okay, the other one is MS Vcrt.dll. Okay, so this actually is required for by the Microsoft Visual Studios. Okay, this is a basic library that is required for the Microsoft Visual Studios to run the executable. Okay, so these are the important libraries that this particular executable will use while running the while running. Okay, so on just inspecting the executable, you are getting a lot of information about this particular malware. Okay, so if you click on the kernel32.dll, okay, so these are the API calls that it is using. Okay, get startup info, set file pointer, set file time. Okay, uh, 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 create process. Okay, so it is creating a process. Okay, terminate process, it is terminating a process. Okay, load library. So load library will be used by Windows programming to load a library into the program. Okay, global alloc. So whenever your process is creating some global address space which can be which can be accessed across multiple processes, so the process generally called global alloc function. Okay, even it is calling get current directory and set current directory. So most of the time now, whenever you talk about ransomware, no, they used to traverse all the directories. So generally most of the ransomware use get current directory, set current directory to traverse across the files, across the directories. Okay, so on seeing the DLL and the API calls, you can extract a lot of information about this particular binary. Okay, similarly for user32.dll, these are the functions that are included as a part of this particular DLL. WS printf is similar to the printf statement that we use in C programming. Okay, similarly, if you see here, advanced API 32.dll, under this particular DLL, these are the API calls that are included as a part of the binary. Okay, create service, open service, start service. Okay, so generally these are the API calls that will be used whenever you want to create a service in the operating system. So generally a service will be created. So why we create a service? Because whenever its system boots, automatically the service has to invoke. Okay, so generally malware wants to be persistent across the reboots. So okay, that is the reason why it is using this service. Okay, so these are the API calls to make the these are the API calls to make the malware as a persistent actually. Okay, and also you can see here registry create key, registry set value, registry query value, registry close key. So these are the registry operations. That means that this binary will be doing some registry operations. where it is setting some value in the registry. Okay, so it is modifying some registry value. Okay, so that means that so one thing that you should remember is that these are the potential calls that will be called by the this particular executable. Okay, similarly you can see here crypto release context. So that means that this malware actually using some cryptographic libraries to perform some task. Okay, so here we did not execute any binary, but only seeing the DLLs and their corresponding APIs, we are able to get a lot of information about the binary. Okay, so the other one is MS Vcrt.dll. So generally this is a DLL is required mostly whenever you write a program in the Microsoft Visual Studios. Okay, so these are the functions that are mostly related to the C. Okay, so freed, fopen, printf, rand. Okay, all these are functions will be used. Okay, so this is regarding the CFF Explorer. Yuvraj will give you the demo on the CFF Explorer.
So I'm going again back to this VM machine, and now CFF Explorer is already installed in our system. If you want to install this tool in your system, what you need to do is you need to just Google it, CFF Explorer, and you will get the Microsoft link and you will get this binary from Google. You can download it and you can install this CFF Explorer. So once you have installed this CFF Explorer on your system, you just need to right click on any particular binary, and you guys need to say it open with the CFF Explorer. You can see this is one option is there, open with CFF Explorer. This is the second option. Okay, so now I'm going to open this in the CFF Explorer. Whatever APIs, whatever headers we have seen in this slide, I will show you here also. So you can see this. These are the header files which are included in this CFF Explorer. These header files are nothing but the part of PE file. Okay, so the first one is DOS header, entry header, file header, option header, data directories, and section headers. So you can see if I'm clicking on the section header, I'm getting all the sections are present into this CFF Explorer. Okay, similar to this, I'm getting all import table into this directory. Okay, so if I'm clicking any of the DLL, I'm getting all the API call which are used by the binary. Okay, which are used by the binary. This binary has been used all this API which is belonging from this DLL. Okay, this is the DLL. Okay, so these are the APIs call we can see. Mostly these are write file and get Windows directory, right? Get set current directory what everything we have seen till this point. Okay, and if I'm seeing this create directory, get startup info, file pointer, set file time, all these API calls we can see they are literally not exactly the malicious APIs, but which is mostly used by the malware to gain some malicious activity or to perform some malicious activity. Okay, so these are the find resources used for identify some any resources which are from which is running on the system, right? So the same similarly we have like user32.dll, the same APIs we have used. Okay, and then advanced API we have all registry APIs, service related APIs, and some crypto related APIs. Okay, and in this MS VCRT we have all system basic APIs which is required for this binary. Okay, so this is all about the CFF Explorer. Now we'll continue with the slide.
So the next important tool is strings actually. So like so whenever you write a printf statement in the programming, so it will remind as a hard-coded string in the executable as well. Okay, whatever the printf statement that we put in the program will remains hard-coded strings in the executable as well. Okay, so whenever you use a string utility, what does the string utility will do is the string utility will extract all the hard-coded strings that are present in the executable. Okay, so it will extract all the hard-coded strings that are present in the executable. Okay, so this is the output, sample output of the string utility. Okay, so if you observe, the string utility will give you a lot of output actually. It is like a lot of output. Okay, in that you should carefully look for the possible information that is useful to is useful for the analyst. Okay, so if you this is the sample screenshot, okay, of the output of the string utility. If you observe here, it is using some functionality like crypt gen key, crypt decrypt, crypt encrypt, crypt destroy key, crypt import key, crypt acquire context TA. So that means that this executable contains some uh, some uh, uh, some logic for the encryption and decryption. So if you observe now in malwares most of the time the crypto this ransomware this ransomware uses this cryptography for encryption and decryption of the files actually. So that means that this information helps us to map with the malware actually. Okay. So this is one of the screenshots from the string utility as well. So if you observe, no, so this is a command. Okay, this is the command that is present in the binary. Okay, so this is the command ICACLS. Okay, is a utility or a command line, is a command line utility. Okay, so this command line utility will help us to modify the NTFS file permissions. Okay, so this will be mostly done by the ransomware. So most of the ransomware, what will try to do is it will try to modify the permissions of the files. Okay, they will encrypt it and delete the original file. Okay, so this is the general behavior of most of the ransomware. Okay. Okay, so this is a screenshot which will show you the various error messages that are present in the binary. Okay. Okay, so similarly from the string command, okay, from the output of the string command we are also helps us to find the API calls as well. Okay, so this is a snapshot which will give you the different API calls that are present in the executable. Okay, get module handle, okay, set last error, virtual protect, okay, heap free, okay, create a directory, ws printf. These are the registry functions. Okay, raise set value, raise tree, okay, which we have explained previously using the CF Explorer. Okay, so what are the API calls that you have observed in the CF Explorer will also be you will also get it from the string utility. Okay, so these are the different API calls that we can extract from the string utility. Okay, similarly we can also filter out the output of the string to identify the specific API calls. Suppose I want to filter out the process API calls or register API calls. So the output of the command will be given to the find output of the command will be fed to the find str to filter out the process and as well as the registry API calls. Okay, so this is how we can use the string. Okay, similarly these are the file APIs. These are all our query APIs. Okay, so these are all are the modification APIs. Okay, so using strings, so you can filter out what you want actually. So are you looking for a DLL are you looking for a DLL, or are you looking for a functions which will set, or you can also filter out which are querying. Okay, all these can be filtered using a string utility. Okay, so this is also you can also verify like whether the particular executable is having the using some specific protocol. Okay, so most of the times the malware use onion routing protocol to hide the hide the attacker information. Okay, so you can use the various combinations to extract various informations from the given executable. Okay, so this is how we are going to use the string command. Okay, the string, when you use a string command, it will dump you a lot of information. So as an analyst, we need to analyze each of the output of the string, and we need to conclude some information like what API calls it is making, what are the error messages present, okay, what protocols it is being used, whether there are any commands are present in the executables. All this information you will get using the strings command. Okay, so Yuvraj will going to show you the demo.
Okay, so for demo part, we'll again go back to this VM machine. So strings is a part of sys internal suite. So I'm going to again the sys internal folder. Okay, and yeah, I have some sort of API listed in my VM machine. So this is some sort of API commands I have added. You can just note down this command, or you can take this photo of this command. And yeah, so these are the string commands. And what we are doing is strings is the utility here, right? And here we are passing our own binary for Wannacry.exe, and whatever output that string command is giving, we are passing to this find str. Find str tool is nothing but the similar tool like grep when we use in the when you used to find out some strings or some files in the Linux environment. So this entire bunch of data or entire bulk data from strings we are giving to the find str command. This find str command is more like a filter command. Then so it is filtering whatever strings we are providing. Okay, so whenever it is going to find any this kind of strings inside the entire bulk data, it will throw another display on the screen. Okay, so let me go back to this previous slide. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm just copying this string command and I'm dumping on this my PowerShell. Okay. Okay. So with this command, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to identify any crypto-related APIs are there or not. So if you guys observe that in case of when we analyze this binary in a CFF Explorer, here we are not able to get any crypto-related APIs here. You can see here we are not able to see any crypto-related APIs here because this is all like a static import things. Okay, but when we deal with the dynamically imported APIs, we are not getting this API in a CFF Explorer. Okay, because it's a part of dynamic. Okay, but that programmer or that hacker had written somewhere the strings inside the code that he want or she want to use this API using dynamically linked library. Okay, so in that case, the hacker has to be write this API in a single code or double code and pass to the some function like. So they want to load this API from external data, right? So that's the reason we are able to see these APIs using string commands. Okay, because these are hard-coded strings are present inside the binary, right? So similarly, we can identify other tool also like we have seen this ICACLS is one of the tool which is used to modify file system permission. So we can see this is whether it is present or not present. So as per this result, you can see this ICACLS is present into this binary, right? So similar things. If I want to see any process related APIs are present inside the binary, so you can just dump this command, and you can identify these all our process related APIs are present into the binary. So similar to process, we have file also, registry also. Okay, so let me gather all file related APIs. These all are file related API. Like you can see set file time, set file pointer. Okay, read file, write file. Okay, these are they are mostly used in this ransomware kind of malware because it's always used to uh, use write file APIs and read file APIs, create file APIs, right? So similar to file APIs, we can see these are all registry also using REG. So mostly in Windows, Windows APIs is like a very readable or very friendly APIs. So all the registry APIs in the Windows, they are having REG in the API, or even all the file related API, they are having file somewhere in this API. So it's kind of very readable or very friendly APIs which are maintained by in the Windows. Okay. So similarly, we have all query API. So whenever we want to query, like whenever we want to get system time or whenever we want to get some file information, so it's kind of querying API. So all APIs starts with the get command. You can see here get exit code process, right? So get process address, get current directory. Okay, all these are a query related API having get command. So similar to query related APIs, we have all modification, some APIs which is used for a bunch of APIs which is used for modification tasks, right? So for this we have set command. So we can see all these commands are used to modify something in this system, like set file time, set file pointer, set file attribute, like this. Okay, and at the end we can see all of the DLLs, what are the DLLs are present in this binary using DLL as a filter. So let me execute this. So as per the output, you can see there are lots of DLL are able to use in the binary code. So we can see there are lots of URL. I think this kernel ADVP already we have seen this point, but this WS2 is we haven't seen. This WS2 means it is used for socket programming DLL, as well as shell is used for shell. If you want to access some shell APIs through the code, it is used in the shell programming. So there's a DLLs which is used in the in this binary. Okay, so yeah, so this is all about the strings command. Now we'll continue with this slide. This one of this exe is a like when we have executed this Wannacry in our dynamic environment. So this Wannacry has drops the next level binary. Okay, so this binary was task svc.exe. Okay, so when we investigate this binary, so we found that this DAS SVC binary having lots of onion related strings is listed inside the binary. Okay, so yeah, this is all about strings utility. Now we'll continue this slide.
So next is the PE Studios. So this is like one of the favorite tools for many of the security analysts. So till now what we have seen is that most of the tools we are trying to derive the information, but in case of PE Studios, the PE Studios helps us to spot the anomalies. Okay, automatically the tool will scan the complete executable and will give you the spot the anomalies, like entropy is high. Okay, so whenever entropy is high, something means that there is some packing of the executable is done. Okay, or it is not digitally signed by Microsoft. As I told you that we are that some malwares claim that it is being digitally signed by Microsoft, but once you verify it, you have to explicitly you're using check tool and verifying it. But in case of PE Studios, it will automatically load the executable and it will show you all the anomalies that are present in the binary. So these anomalies helps us to further dig into the investigation, like further you can dig further and understand more about why this anomaly exists in the binary. Okay, a lot of details will be popped up by the PE Studios when you load a malicious binary. Okay, so Yuvraj is going to show you the demo for the PE Studios.
So to see the PE Studio demonstration, we'll again go back to this our VM machine. Yeah. So this is the PE Studio binary. We have to open this binary, and we need to drag and drop a Wannacry to this binary. Okay. So it will take some time to identify the indicators because it is connecting to this. So in this piece video, they have given one functionality called VirusTotal. So what they are doing is they will pass the hash value of the submitted binary to the VirusTotal's main server. Okay, and the tool itself will get the response from the VirusTotal server and dump all this data to this application. So you can see here almost 71 out of 66 vendors has been identified. This binary is identified as a malicious binary. Okay, so yeah, so So this is one result. Okay. The next one is DOS header, similar like CFF Explorer. Here also we can see this DOS header. Okay, and this next one is directories, and it's all the sections of the file. Okay, and one more thing is resource file. So in this resource section, one thing that we can identify that one of the resource, like one of like from the all section header, from all section, one of the section has a tightly packed, you can see this ratio of file ratio. These are the all sections. So one of the section is really tightly packed, almost 98% packed. So it also claiming that it is packed using pkzip. So this packed is nothing but this binary had is packed some malicious code uh, inbuilt. I mean, it came with the inbuilt pack of multiple binaries. Okay, and whenever we execute this binary, it is going to decrypt, or we can say unpack all these binaries from this binary. Okay, so if you remember that we have seen one slide like onion, we have identified onion strings in a particular exe. That exe was packed inside this binary. Okay, this we can identify because this is much high file ratio we can see here. Okay, so now this is all about this PE Studio. We wait for some time. Okay, because it is going to identify these indicators.
Meanwhile, we'll continue with the other tools. We'll come back to this in a while actually. This is the running. So what are the tools that we have seen so far are the static tools. That means that we are not executing them in a control. We are not executing those binaries actually, like C-DAC, CFX Explorer, PE Studio strings, all are actually a static analysis tools. We did not execute the binary. So when you come to the dynamic analysis, these are the tools that are in generally we use. One is the Process Explorer, Process Monitor, Auto Run. The other one is the System Monitor. So the first one is the Process Explorer. So I think we are not going to cover the practicals for the dynamic analysis tool. Why? Because it requires an isolated network. So we will be presenting the results of the dynamic analysis, and we'll give you a little introduction of each tool, how it can be utilized. Okay. So Process Explorer is similar to the Task Manager. Okay, but apart from the Task Manager, the main advantage of using a Process Explorer is that it will show you the parent-child relationship. Parent-child relationship between the parent and the it will show you the parent-child relationship. Okay, and also it will list all the resources that a particular file is accessing, like what are the files that it is opened. Okay, what are the resources, like what are the other resources it is opening, like what semaphores, whether there is any semaphore is being created, whether there is any IPC mechanism is created. All this information you will get to know using the Process Explorer. Okay, so this is a sample output of the Process Explorer. So you can see here. So this is the Wannacry. This is the Wannacry malware. Okay, if you can see here. Okay, so here you can see here this no signature was present in the subject, but here it is claiming it is a executable is from the Microsoft Corporation. Okay, so apart from parent-child relation, it will also help us to identify whether this particular executable is digitally signed by Microsoft or not. Okay, similarly you can also submit the hash of the running process to the virus total. So whenever you submit the hash of the running process to the virus total, it will give you the statistics. Like if you see, observe here. Okay, this is the Wannacry malware actually. So out of 73 antivirus, 62 are claiming it as malicious. Okay, and so if you see here the malware has actually forked three subprocesses. Okay, subprocess 1, subprocess 2, subprocess 3. Okay, and if you see the statistics actually here, like out of 72 antivirus, 60 antivirus are claiming this as a malicious. Okay, out of 73, 0 are claiming, because maybe these are the system processes, genuine system processes. That is why these antivirus are not claiming this as malicious. Okay, so that means that these two are the malware which internally are using the system resources for performing some specific task. Okay. Okay, so apart from that, you can also view what are the strings that are present in the given binary. Okay, you right click on the you right click on the process. Okay, and you select the string tab. Okay, automatically you can view all the strings that are present in the running process. Okay, you can see here Wannacry decryptor. Okay, Wannacry decryptor. Okay, your file have been encrypted. Okay, okay, send $300 worth Bitcoin to this address. Payment will be raised on. Okay, and even if you can see here, it is using the Tor network for communication. Okay, pay now if you did not uncheck again after 2 hours. Okay, so all these are actually will tell you that this is something related to the some ransomware, because it is doing some encryption. Okay, it is doing some encryption, and also it is demanding some money, and it is using a Tor network. Okay, so these are the some of the artifacts that you can extract from this particular tool. Okay, so the other tool is the process monitor. So in process monitor, actually, we'll be focusing more on the events. Okay, so whenever you run any process, okay, a lot of events will be generated. Okay, so the events related to the process related events, file system events, registry events, network events. So all these events will be generated whenever you run the process. So using PROC1, process monitor is nothing but a PROC1, you can actually captured all the events generated by a particular process. Okay, so this is a snapshot showing you all the process events for a particular process. Okay, so here you can see here process start, process create. Okay, so these are all the process events. Okay, so the PROC1 will provide you a filter. Okay, where you can sort out all the file system events based on the operation. Okay, so here we have applied process filter. Okay, so based on that you can further analyze. Okay, so you can see here this is the process create. Okay, so this process has started, and the argument that is being passed to this particular executable is this one. Okay, if you observe here, there is another process create. Okay, so this we have told previously that this is a command line utility. Okay, this is the command line utility for modifying the permissions of an executable. Okay, similarly it is actually dropping one more executable called task.dl.exe. Okay, so that means that a lot of process, so whenever you run this malware, a lot of processes are being created. Okay, so these are all the processes that are being created. So now as an analyst, you need to analyze all these exes. Okay, and how they are correlated. Okay, and to which network it is being communicated. Okay, so similarly you can filter using the load. Okay, so what are the libraries that it is loading? Okay, all the information related to the libraries will be present here. If you see, so these are the DLLs that are being loaded by your running application. Okay, these are the DLLs. Okay, so even if you see here, there is one DLL which represents for the generally used for cryptography is bcrypt primitives.dll. Okay, so it is also loading shell32.dll. So whenever you want to do some PowerShell or whenever you want to execute any of the commands, so you required the shell32.dll. All these DLLs being are loaded. So you need to analyze why these DLLs are being loaded and what is the purpose to understand more about the malware. Okay, so this is regarding the loaded DLL. The same thing here we have highlighted the cryptographic DLLs that are being loaded by the process. Okay, so similarly you can analyze, you can filter based on the events. Okay, so this is regarding the PROC1. Okay, the other one is autorun. So autorun is a dynamic analysis tool. So this tool will help us to identify the pre-configured applications which run at the boot time. Okay, so this is also a utility that is present in the sysinternals. Okay, so this is a snapshot of the autorun tool. So you can so once we run an Wannacry, so this is the entry that was made by the Wannacry malware to run at the boot time. Okay, so which was highlighted in the yellow color. Okay, so the other important tool that we'll be using in the dynamic analysis is the system monitor. So generally we'll call it as a sysmon. Okay, so this sysmon is not a part of the sysinternals. This has to be downloaded separately. The main use of the sysmon is that, so whenever you talk about the proc1, we are actually capturing all the events that are generated by the operating system, like process, registry, network, uh, network, file system. All these are the events that are generated, but a lot of events are generated. Okay, so investigating each and every event will be sometimes a time consuming. So in case of system monitor, we'll be focusing on the only the important events that are related to the security. Okay, so the sysmon will give you the like filter all the events, and it is going to give you filtered so all it will take all the events from the system, and it will filter out only those events that are important with respect to the security analyst point of view. So in order to use this tool, what we need to do is we need to download this software and install on the system. Then only we can actually, then only this sysmonitor will filter out the events. Okay, so these are the events actually that sysmon will provide. Okay, process creation, process explicitly change file creation, network connections, sysmon service state changed, process terminated, driver loaded on the system, image loaded in the specific process, create remote thread. Generally, most of the malware, whenever they want to inject inject a process into another process, create remote thread will be used. Okay, raw access. So not so most of the malware now, instead of using read write now, they can directly use the raw functions that will actually bypass this antivirus actually. Okay, so process access, file creation, like when you talk about the ransomware no, so most of the time what it will do is it will encrypt the it will create a encrypted files and delete the original files. Okay, so ransomware creates a lot of files actually. Okay, file create and registry events. Okay, 12, 13, 14 are with respect to the registry events. Okay, 15 is with respect to a so whenever you visit any malicious web server, sometimes what will happen is that a malicious executable will be dropped. Okay, so using sysmon you can identify the malicious dropped executables. Okay, the 16 are related with respect to the like service configuration changes for the sysmon file. 17 is for the, creating the IPC, like whenever two processes want to communicate through an IPC. Okay, they create a pipe actually. So whenever any pipe is being created in the system, it will notify you. Okay, WMI is interface will be used for remotely administrating the operating system. Okay, similarly the DNS file delete, clipboard change, and process tampering. So all these events are related to the malware actually. Okay, so these are all the events are required for a security analyst to identify the malware or to extract more information from the binary. Okay, so whenever we run a Wannacry, so these are the events that are generated. So we are able to generate, so when we run the malware using sysmon, so we are able to identify around 719 events of ID2, event ID2. So if you observe now previously, the event ID2 is a process explicitly change the file creation set. So this is one of the behavior of the ransomware to change the file creation time. Okay, so another is that, so we are able to identify 8,540 events of event ID 2. So sorry, event ID 11. So event ID 11 has occurred 8,540 times. So what does the event ID 11 will tell you is the file creation. So whenever a system is infected with the ransomware, it will create a lot of files actually, a lot of encrypted files, and will delete the original files. So that is the, since the system is infected with the ransomware, you are able to see these many events actually. So that means that it has encrypted 8,540 in the current system. Okay. Similarly, you can see that these are the 3 executables that are being dropped in by the Wannacry. So these are also we are able to identify using the sysmon. Okay. Finally, so whenever you run any malware, okay, so it will also communicate with the external world. So to capture the network traffic, we use Wireshark tool. So Wireshark tool helps us to capture the network traffic, and using Wireshark, we are able to identify the destination IP address, and this is the output of the IP address to which it is communicating. So these IP addresses we have verified with the virus total. So some antivirus are claiming these as a malicious, some are not. Okay. So this is regarding the Wireshark. Okay. So now we have explained you so many tools for static and dynamic. So in generally, whenever you want to do any ransomware analysis, we use both the techniques, static analysis and dynamic analysis. Based on the information we gathered, we need to based on the information we gather in the static analysis and dynamic analysis, we'll be concluding it as a malware or not. Okay. So before concluding it, we will show you the demo for the PE Studios. Then we'll conclude the session.
Okay. So you can see I'm going to this again back to this VMware, and you can see these are all the indicators has been identified by the PE Studio. Okay. So these are the indicators. You can see there are 41 indicators has been identified by the PE Studio, and you can see here using PE Studio techniques, it is able to blacklisted almost 34 strings. So as per the PE Studio, they are claiming that 34 strings are used as a potentially malicious things. Okay, which is a 34 strings. If you want to go to this, see these strings, I'm just redirecting the strings part. Okay. Okay. So here we can see we have huge list of strings. So yeah, so these are all the strings has been identified by the PE Studio, like get exit process code, okay, registry set registry values, right, crypto release context, right, write file, okay. These are the all RAND, SRAND, okay. These are the all strings which has been identified by the malicious malicious words, okay. So coming to the next point, as per the severity, see this is our severity level. So as per the PE Studio, we are identified that these all ones are the higher severity ratio. Okay, so in this severity ratio, we have found that strings 34 blacklisted strings and a virus shooter score, which is also giving a high severity level score, which is almost 66, has been identified as malicious. Okay, and as we have discussed in this Wannacry having one packed section, which is a resource section, and this is also telling that this is this much byte has been packed in one of the section. Okay, and here also you can see a file has been embedded. That means in one of the section, the entire another exe has been embedded in the section using pkzip. This already we have seen before in the slide. Okay, similarly this has almost 14 function has been identified as a blacklisted function by this PE Studio. And yeah, this is all extension and this is file ratio. So all this information is literally showing that it is high severity file, okay, and is a high potentially malicious file. Okay, so this is all about PE Studio. Okay. Now we can go to the slide. Yeah. So yeah, till this point we have seen all these tools regarding to static analysis, dynamic analysis, and network analysis, and these other tools are used to identify this any samples. Okay, so we'll stop this session now.
That's all from our side. Anusha.
Yes, sir.
That's all from our side.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Sai, sir, and thank you, Yuvraj.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So now we come to the end of the session. I thank Dr. Prakash Gopalakrishnan from VIT for accepting our request and handle the first session on redefining cybersecurity vision for the new normal working strategy. So thank you. That session was very wonderful. So, and I thank our own colleague, Mr. Sai Gopal, Joint Director C-DAC Hyderabad, for handling the session on analysis of ransomware. Thank you, sir. I hope all the participants, all the attendees who enjoy the session. Right now, already we shared the feedback link in the chat. All the participants are requested to provide your valuable feedback that is helpful for us to conducting the upcoming sessions. Yeah, we can repost the feedback link once again. The feedback link is again reposted. And all the participants, those who are registered and then attend the session, you can receive the certificate before Monday. That means 5th of Monday, you can able to receive the certificates. Along with the certificates, you can also receive the brochures as well as the registration link for the bridge course. So I request if anyone of you interested in attending the bridge course, you can use that brochure as well as registration link. You can register. And meanwhile, if you have any doubt means on if you have any doubts on attending those bridge course, you can contact us on csfs@cdac.in. So thank you all. And happy weekend. Thank you.